Welcome, everyone. I hope we've all had a great week. Welcome to our weekly Communities of Practice Sunday check-in session, a half hour of Dharma, reflection, and community connections. If you're a new member of our community, please accept our wholehearted welcome and know that if you're unsure or have any questions about any of our practices and topics, we're all here to help. And if you're a regular, well, welcome back. It is customary in Australia to begin any meeting by acknowledging the traditional owners of our land. So in the spirit of reconciliation, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we walk, study, and reside, the Wadi people of the Dharawal Nation, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. I also pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you all are. So just a little bit about our check-in sessions. The check-in sessions have been developed by our Communities of Practice team and the entire community with the purpose of developing a reflective practice in response to our changing world. Guided by humanistic Buddhism, we would like to help each other cultivate our practices and build memorable friendships. If you've been following along, you'll know that we tend to theme our sessions based on the needs of our community and wider world. So we invite you to suggest any topics you think would be of interest and benefit so that we can continue in this spirit. We're now our second week into July and our second week into our exploration of the perfections in the Bodhisattva path. Last week, Ina Denton introduced us to the first perfection, giving, and encouraged us to contemplate how we can give to ourselves and others and why that's so important. This week, Ina is back to guide us through the second perfection, morality. So please welcome Ina.
Thank you, Liam. And it's so good to see everybody's smiling faces again this evening or this afternoon, this morning, I guess it is for you. As we look at the perfections or the paramitas in maybe a new way for ourselves, I'm hoping that this will give us an opportunity to maybe refine our practice in a way that meets the needs of others. So let's first take a couple minutes of time for meditation to settle our mind, be restful, and be prepared to hear, share, and learn from one another. Sit in a manner that is comfortable for you, and with your feet on the floor, or if you are sitting in a lotus position, you know how to cross your legs. Sit upright, but not too stiff, because this is a time for relaxation and breathing deeply into our very being. Let us begin. Now, if we can, let's take a deep breath and open our eyes and join this wonderful community. When I was thinking of morality, I was thinking about how we are taught lists of to-dos and not to-dos to determine our moral action. And I'd like to whip through what we've been taught in those lists and then look perhaps a little more deeply into the challenges behind these checklists. So here goes. In the Noble Eightfold Path, we look at the section of the path that is the paramita of morality, which is also called discipline. So that list is right action, right speech, right livelihood. And then we go, which are basically the three goods: thought, speech, and action. Right thought, speech, and action. I can't talk tonight. And then we go from that into the precepts. And those are the don't do's. Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, do not engage in sexual misconduct, don't use intoxicants. And we see those as the what we're not to do. And in fact, one time when I was teaching this, a person who had been a practitioner for a long time said, I never thought of the other side, which is what we are taught, which is to respect life, to have reverence for life. Not killing means have reverence for life. Not stealing is to be trustworthy. And not having sexual misconduct is to be respectful of others, all people, as well as our sexual partners. When I work with teens, I say, that also means the locker talk. It doesn't just mean intercourse or sexual unwanted sexual behavior. And lying also means to be respectful and to be honest and be attentive and right. And when we are attentively listening, that means we're not typing or pretending that we're listening, we're truly there. And the use of intoxicants, of course, means to maintain good judgment, keep our mind clear and focused. I always recall Venerable Chifan talking with the kids about intoxicants. And she starts using her fingers like this, like she's on her cell phone. And look at the times when people have actually caused killing because of being on their cell phone when driving. So we have to look at intoxicants as more than weed and booze, I guess. And there's a moral challenge, as I see it, in these precepts, these don'ts that we have. They're more than just lists that we can put on a refrigerator door. Remember to do this, don't do that, etc. And the key to me is that we have to do what is right and react always with respect and compassion and loving kindness. And sometimes that's difficult for us to do because of our preoccupations. So we have morality, and then we have immorality, which is, and that's the next slide, Liam, where morality means that we know what is right and we do what is right. Immorality is knowing what is right and just don't do it, don't care. It's following the rules when convenient, but shirking them or setting them aside when they're not, or we think when nobody's looking. And that brought me to the thought of amorality, which when you look at the moral construct, it's moral, immoral, amoral, and there are some other non-morals, etc., but we're going to just focus on these. And amorality is not wantonly breaking the rule, but it's an indifference. It's being unaware, not aware of right and wrong, or uninquisitive, not curious about what is necessary, needed, or right or wrong, or uncaring. It's sort of the out of sight, out of mind. Didn't see it, doesn't affect me, isn't important. And I'm wondering about whether there's a place for amorality in our Buddhist practice. Because Guan Yin says, go beyond, seek the sounds of hurt and need, and be there. So is there a place for our lack of being inquisitive? Is there a place for not seeking out the needs of others? And then the Venerable Master, as usual, gives us some wise advice. And he says that the simple spirit of the precepts is that we should not violate each other. And by not violating others, we can respect one another and become free. So morality is not just don't kick the dog or don't take the pen from the office. It's deeper than that. It's showing respect for all life and for others' possessions and others' worth. So as I was thinking about this, I was thinking, this morality thing isn't that simple. It's more complex. And that's what led me to these questions for our discussion this evening. That takes us beyond the simple do's and don'ts that we can have on a little checklist. So what I'd like for us to think about this evening is the word refrain. When the difference between the 10 Commandments and the precepts, the 10 Commandments are thou shalt not, and the precepts are I shall refrain from, or I vow to refrain from. And I think that word refrain begins to cause us to look consciously very differently. So I would like for us to think about how the word refrain influences our thought about the precepts and our following them. And then, out of my curiosity and my trying to figure this out, I'd like for you to help me figure out the whole concept of amorality. Does that fit in Buddhist practice? If it does, how does it? If it doesn't, why doesn't it? And one of the things that the Venerable Master said is that being moral makes you free. And I think we should spend some time thinking about how does all of this keep us out of harm's way or make us free. How are the precepts a get out of jail free card kind of, or do not go to jail or something? I think of the Monopoly board. So that's what I'd like us to look at. Take the precepts and those areas of morality on the Noble Eightfold Path, and think a little more deeply about what that means and how we address all of the issues that confront us on a daily basis. Liam, do your magic.
Thank you, Ina, for guiding us through this quite hefty topic. There's a lot to unpack there. So, dear community, now it's over to you to discuss. We'll be placed in groups of 3 to 4. And in the beginning, we do recommend getting to know each other a little bit if you don't already. And then you can start discussing the questions. Of course, let your discussions flow as they do, but we'll provide some prompts here and there to guide you. Our sessions are guided by metta, unconditional love and kindness for all beings. So let's use this opportunity to express and receive loving kindness to and from each other by taking time to pause, share and listen. Afterwards, we'll ask you all to share some of your findings with the larger group. But for now, let's break out for some rich and nourishing discussions. See you all back in 15 minutes. Aina, did you want to share comments or would you like me to?
Let's see. Refrain. Developing mind and character to make progress to change oneself on the path to enlightenment. Amorality. White lies. I should read this first, I guess. Amorality, white lies. Example, lying the truth of the dead of young grandchild from elderly. This is to prevent from her grief and hurtful feelings of the loss of grandchild. Be interesting to see if some of you think that's amoral. Morality for freedom, letting go one's ego and desires, and cultivating loving kindness and compassion.
Okay, everyone, we'll keep those thoughts coming. We won't get a chance to read them all out, but do keep typing them in the chat box and we'll organize them into a poster and send them all out to you midweek next week. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining this session. And we really hope that the check-in session was helpful to you and that you've experienced the unconditional love and compassion of our community. For anyone who might be experiencing a greater need than what today could meet, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us via email. And you can also reach out to the professional organizations on the screen. We hope you've been enjoying exploring and cultivating your perfections so far. It's been pretty full on. So next week, we're going to be taking a break from our usual program. In a special one-off session, we're inviting our good friend, Stephen Hill, to introduce his latest book, just published internationally, The Kyoto Post-COVID Manifesto for Global Economics, Confronting Our Shattered Society. Drawing on his experience working with the United Nations and as a professor of sociology, Stephen confronts the inequality of our current self-interest-based global economy and shows us the hope and reality of an emerging new economics based on humanity. The local community and you are the main players in a more positive future with the values of humanistic Buddhism at the core. So do join us for this special session. It's not to be missed. We're also on the lookout for more inspiring stories, and we always love to hear from our community. So if you would like to share your turning point, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us via email or just hang around after the session for a chat. For now though, as we check out today, let's recite the dedication of merits together to send love and compassion to each other and whoever is in need.
Let us now dedicate the goodness of what you have done to all living beings. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land, and Precepts inspire equality and patience. May our gratitude and humility give rise to great vows.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us for this Sunday check-in session. We'll continue now with our usual post-check-in discussions, so please stay around for the next half hour or so if you have some time. Otherwise, we'll see you all again next week, next Sunday at 11 a.m. Thanks everyone.